Egunon, good morning everyone. Buenos días. Welcome again to the CESMA Museum. I think we are a bit of more people today, so glad to see everyone. First of all, Koldo Goitia, Director of the Basque Government Ports, and Andima Ormaetxea, representing the Port of Bilbao, will say some words to introduce the morning. Thank you.
Good morning, egunon, buenos días. Welcome to Bilbao, welcome to Basque Country. We are really happy to have all of you here in Basque Country, a small country, but also a big European country. Guretzako ohore handi bat eta niretzako bebai. I don't know if someone understands me in Basque. No. Maybe next year somewhere. Eskerrik asko elkartiari Bilbon antolatziaren batzar hau, bilgune hau. And I hope this meeting will be successfully. Estamos en una época un poco convulsa, donde el transporte marítimo está siendo muy afectado y donde los capitanes y las capitanas pues tenéis un papel, un rol muy importante, un desafío, diría yo, muy importante en este momento, en esta situación geopolítica tan difícil que la Marina Mercante y el tráfico marítimo está atravesando. No more, what say more. Eskerrik asko, thank you very much to choose Bilbao for this meeting. Hope next year or somewhere again we will meet here again. And eskerrik asko, and welcome again. Mi esker. ¿Alguna sorpresa?
Muchas gracias. That's one small memory for your welcome speech, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
That you support us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Eskerrik asko.
Well, hello, good morning. My name is Andima Ormaetxea. I'm the Director of Operations and Strategy of the Port of Bilbao. I want to thank to the Association of Captains for the Basque Country to bring you to the city. Thanks to you for the assistance, for traveling to Bilbao. Thanks to the Association of Europe of Captains. Bilbao is very industrial. Bilbao is shipping. The reason of the development of Bilbao is the industry and is the shipping. These days we've got the Guggenheim Museum where some terminals we had in the past. Close to the museum, we had some terminals, steering terminals. I started there, working in the port, so I've got a good remembrance. So the thing is that we always say that we need to keep the heart of shipping in Bilbao, and these kind of events are remembering to the people and to the young people that Bilbao is industry and is shipping more than ever. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.
Small memory.
Very nice. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello again. Now we are going to start with the presentations for today. So Can I please welcome to join here on the table to Mr. Andima Ormaitzea, Mrs. Carolina Reith, Captain Giovanni Letis, and Captain Antonio Raggi, please. All introductions done, so thank you very much. So our first speaker will be Mr. Ormaitzea. He's representing, as I say, the Port of Bilbao, and he will address one of the most critical challenges in our industry, which is decarbonization. So he will be sharing some insights into current initiatives, strategies, and the role that ports can play in supporting more sustainable marine future. So please join me welcoming him. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, hello again. My slides are around the decarbonization, so I'm going to show you what is the strategy of the Port of Bilbao to face this energy transition. And our message is that we have to change, we have to adapt. The transition is there, and we want to take this transition as an opportunity to become more competitive in future for the Port of Bilbao. This is the problem of Europe these days. You can see the congestion of roads. Thousands and thousands of trucks are traveling through Europe, north and south, every day. We are crossing the Pyrenees border every day with 20,000 trucks every day. And this is the main problem, not only in the United Kingdom, but also in Europe. So this is creating several problems. And a part of the emissions, this is a great impact in the infrastructure of Europe. And Europe is saying it's enough. Europe is saying we cannot pay the cost of the maintenance of the infrastructure, and we have to change this reality. A part of the problems of the lack of truck drivers and emissions, the main problem is the impact in the infrastructure, safety and cost of the maintenance. This is the problem, and that's why Europe is regulating more and more against this model, this model of pure logistics based on the truck. So what is the solution? This is the new law that is coming. So different commissions in Europe, they are just preparing new laws to increase the tariffs for the logistics just based only in the trucks. And we from the institutions, from the ports, we have to develop the multimodality and offer to the society different ways of transport or complements. It's not a war against the truck, it's just a combination of different models to reduce the impact in the society of this kind of transport. The truck is not going to disappear, but the way is changing. Now the truck drivers, they don't want to spend the whole week out of home. They want to just to transport, we say, the last mile. They want to have the job from 9 to 5 as in office. So we have to create the infrastructure and the process to become a reality. So from that point, when we are talking about the emissions, we are talking always about the carbon footprint. But Europe is increasing this demand of reduce of emissions in different impacts, not only the carbon, but there are other problems I mean, related with the industry and with the logistics. So this is the future. This is our offer. The offer from the port is just, let's put some cargo in the trains, let's put some cargo in the vessel. For sure, the vessel is the more efficient cargo model of transport, and let's go to develop this multimodality. It's not against anyone, it's just to combine different type of transport to be more effective and more efficient. And of course, Bilbao is the main port for Europe. 30% of the maritime transport between the Iberia Peninsula and Europe is leaving from Bilbao. We are the main Atlantic port in Spain. So our offer is just to receive the cargo by train to Bilbao and ship it to the north by the vessel. This is what we do, and we want to, let's say, develop this type of transport. So, for that sense, we are investing more than 100 million to decarbonize the port. We want to offer to the clients, to the vessels, to the society, and to the industry a green port. For that reason, we've got windmills in the port. We are generating the energy inside of the port. We are electrifying all the terminals. The regulation, the European regulation, is forcing from 2030 to connect to some kind of vessels, to containers, ferries, and cruise ships. But we are going to put these connections in all the terminals with regular traffics. So our ambition is great, is big. We've got, some problems because not all the ports are following us, but we want to reduce considerably, and we want the emissions, and we want really to show our face to the society as a green port. That's why the ambition in the investments. So one of the terminals is already connected. Is the terminal of Fin Lines connecting Bilbao with Zeebrugge and the Baltic Sea. And our model is a community renewable energy model. That means that when we haven't got the vessel connected to the electricity grid, we've got many industry inside of the port. So the industry is going to take this electricity generated by the port. So we are not losing energy, we are creating energy, cheap energy, because it's created in the port with the windmills that we've got, with the solar plants. And when this electricity is not consumed by the vessel, it's going to the industry. This is another opportunity that we've got, because there is not any one solution for the transition. The electricity is not the big solution and the great solution. The heavy industry is going to be decarbonized by the hydrogen, and we want to offer different kind of energies for every single solution or necessity. We've got a refinery in the Port of Bilbao, and the refinery is also in a transformation process. The refinery from the classic refinery is going to become a hydrogen plant, and also we are helping to the refinery to become a hydrogen plant, and also an eco-fuels and synthetic fuels generating plant. So this is what Europe is considering the Port of Bilbao. So Europe is not able to produce green hydrogen because there is not a space for the windmills inside. There is not a space for the solar plants, and there is not enough sun in the north of Europe. So in order to create the hydrogen, you need a lot of energy. And this energy has to become from the wind and from the sun. And Europe is considering the Iberian Peninsula as a hydrogen producer for the future in Europe. And it's considering the Port of Bilbao as the main port to take this hydrogen in small vessels. You know that the hydrogen has to travel in a very high pressure. So the width of the vessels they have to be well, it's quite demanding, and we need to ship it in sources, ship in small vessels in order to transport this hydrogen to the north of Europe. So we are just signing some memorandums together with the Port of Amsterdam and Duisport to create this hydrogen and transport this hydrogen to the main industrial areas in Europe. So Europe is identifying the Port of Bilbao and the Basque Country as one of the main hydrogen producers, not only to decarbonize our heavy industry in the Basque Country, but also to decarbonize the heavy industry in Europe. So the ambition is big. We've got some kind of big targets in front of us, some big challenges, but we are sure that we are going to take these, let's say, challenges in opportunities, as we did in the past. So this is a picture of the Port of Bilbao 30 years ago. You can see the Port of Bilbao in 1991. And this is what we did in 30 years. So we did in the past. We transformed the port. We transformed the city. When the Port of Bilbao, it was inside of the city, and we had limitations. We understood that the port has to go outside to the open waters. And in 30 years, all the society, the community, all the Basque Country and the Biscay and the Port of Bilbao, we worked in the same line, and we achieved in 30 years to transform dramatically not only the Port of Bilbao, but also the city. So it's there, we did in the past, and we will do it again, for sure. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Andima or Marcea?
Yes. Sorry? Yeah, so it's not for us. It's the first time that I received that kind of question. So I mean, thank you for that. No, but yeah. So for us, there is not any red line or something like that. What we need is just to reduce to zero the emissions in port, and there are different solutions. We are not close to any one of the solutions. So. We haven't got any ideological position in the Port of Bilbao. What we want is just to reduce the emissions to protect the society. We are surrounded by many cities and towns, and we want to protect the society, reduce the emissions, and offer to the market a green port. That's all.
Okay, great. And I think one of the reasons I'm asking the question, I personally believe that the development of small nuclear power plants will take a flight over the next few decades. And I think one of the challenges that we see is the potential of ports having issues with that and not allowing vessels to come in because they don't appreciate the risk or they don't know about the risk. So the quicker we start that discussion in the main ports around Europe and elsewhere, the better it will be, because I think it will go very fast, faster than we may think at the moment. So that was one thing. The second thing is about hydrogen. Did I get you right that you are building a hydrogen plant in Bilbao?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yeah. So
Right.
we've got hydrogen generator inside of the port. The refinery is close to the port, but the first hydrogen plant for 10 megas we are just already building. And it's going to be completed maximum in 6 months from now. So we've got a 2 megas hydrogen plant in the refinery right now. We are developing from 2 to 10 inside of the port, not in the refinery. And the third step is one of 250 megas hydrogen plant to decarbonize the refinery. So the first step is let's create enough hydrogen to decarbonize the refinery to create the synthetic fuels. The next step is to create enough hydrogen to give this hydrogen to the rest of the heavy industry in the Basque Country and north of Europe. But
And
the first step is to decarbonize the refinery.
And if I may, a follow-up question on, do you actually see within the industry, because I get your point, you're building capacity now to support your local industry, to decarbonize effectively, but do you at the same time, with your intention to build more capacity for hydrogen, that you see that industry requirements going up fast enough to create a market for your hydrogen?
Yes, yes.
Right.
This is a reality. I'll let you know that, for example, in the Netherlands, they are just pushing a lot to create enough production for not only for the hydrogen, but also for the synthetic fuels. In the Netherlands, Amsterdam, they've got a big problem with the emissions and the quality of air because they've got the airport very close to the city, Schiphol, with the hub of KLM. So they've got a big traffic and big problems. And the government of Netherlands, they said, stop, fully stop, that's enough. Or if you don't decarbonize, we are going to stop the activity. No reasons, the economy, the industry, no. Don't tell me anything. If you don't decarbonize, you are going to stop your activity. Both Schiphol and also the steel company in Igmoiden, the Tata, so they are going to stop. So Tata and Schiphol Airport, they are pushing a lot to increase the production of synthetic fuels and hydrogen. To decarbonize the steel industry, we need the hydrogen. This is the molecular with a high energy density. This is the solution. But to separate the hydrogen from the water, you need a big consumption of energy, and you have to take the energy for free from the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is not any solution if you burn coal, for example, to create. This is not green hydrogen. So Europe is pushing. Europe is funding to the refinery. Is funding to the Basque hydrogen corridor to create enough hydrogen for the north of Europe.
Yeah, I completely recognize some of the things that you mentioned. I've been working for Shell until my retirement, and Shell is building a big hydrogen plant in Rotterdam. But one of the challenges that we were aware of during the design and the first building stages, are we building something that is actually almost like too big with too much of a production, because the industry is not catching up. But then yet again, Tata Steel is looking at a massive investment from the government. It's a big political discussion to decarbonize, and that's where hydrogen will come into play.
The problem is the price of the hydrogen.
Yeah.
Now is like 4 euros per kilo, something like that.
Yeah.
So very expensive.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's like with the windmills. At the beginning, the windmills, they were very expensive, and the windmill energy, it was very expensive. Now it's a commodity.
Yeah.
So in the first step, it's going to be expensive. We need to subsidize this kind of energy. But for future, it's going to be the solution. It's a issue of time.
Yeah.
Will come. But and it's not going to be enough production of hydrogen for everyone. So the first companies that are just producing hydrogen, they are going to be the winners of this transition, because there are going to be losers also. And in the Basque Country, we want to be the winners.
I agree.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you. That was really interesting. I've just got a parallel question to it, looking at it from a ship operator's perspective, because shipping is going through a drive for net zero also, which means at some point down the road, more and more ships will be using alternative fuels to what they're using now. Some of them, like ammonia, for example, are not the easiest cargoes to handle. Is that something that the port is already looking at to support ships in the future with alternative fuels?
Yeah. So there are different solutions: methanol, ammonia. The electricity is not the only one solution. We are trying to offer a different brochure of energies from the port. So as far as you offer a different energy alternatives from the port, you will be more competitive. But it's difficult. It's difficult for us because we need the space. Our problem in the Port of Bilbao is the space, the lack of space, and we need a space to receive an ammonia producer. Also, we would like to receive a methanol plant. So the ideal picture for the Port of Bilbao is just to get an ammonia terminal, methanol terminal. We've got an LNG terminal, we've got a regas plant, and we've got a LNG bunkering service also in the Port of Bilbao, together with the electricity and the hydrogen. This is our ambition, to get everything. It's going to be very difficult, but well, we have to adapt. So the management of the energy is going to be the key for the future. Is going to be the key of the competitiveness of the societies. So we are in that strategy.
Any other questions on the floor? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andima. Our next presentation focuses on a topic that is of growing importance across the maritime industry, cybersecurity. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Carolina Ruiz from the Basque Maritime Forum. Please help me welcoming her.
It's a little bit of time because technical. I cannot. Where is the presentation? I cannot find it now on the presentation. Here it is. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm very honored to be asked to participate in these meetings with all of you. My name is Carolina Ruiz Spence. I am working with DNV. For those ones that doesn't know what is DNV, it's a classification society. It's main Norwegian. I have been with the company for more than 10 years and working in different sectors. I started with oil and gas, and then I moved to maritime towards the pandemic time. Just to tell you a bit of my history, I'm not Spanish. I'm originally from Colombia, and I started with DNV in the UK. From there, I moved to Germany to work in the shipyards and see the shipbuilding construction, which I found super interesting. And there is when I started my fascination with the industry. At the end of 2023, I moved to Bilbao with my family, and well, I have been getting here basically we are settling here with my kids, and everybody is happy trying to learn Basque, which is already difficult itself. So when I have been asked by the cluster, the Basque cluster, to participate in this meeting, I was thinking, well, what would be interesting for all of you to hear from me? Because the classification society, sometimes it can become just a necessity because it has to, because the regulations require this, and it's quite dense, and it is full of rules, and it can be boring and sometimes disengaging. So I wanted to make this topic a bit more interactive. And I am sure everybody has heard about this cybersecurity, what it is, and we have been talking about this for now many years. And we still think, okay, we need to hear about this again. Well, I will tell you my experience in DNV. We have been giving training to all the employees for the last 3-4 years. And the company is then issuing tests every 2 months, more or less, to see if the employees are following the training. And what is surprising is that despite all this training, the employees are still clicking and giving credentials. It's just a matter of one person to give the credentials for the company to basically be compromised in the service that we deliver and basically stop, because it could be a cyber attack. So that is why we keep talking about the same and giving training. So for that reason, I wanted to make it a little bit interactive, and everything started with the digitalization, because every system now started to get more connected to other systems, and that is what, when we use the network, is where is the risks that we are facing today with the cybersecurity. So digitalization, I wanted to say here, is not just covering the information from physical format to digital one. For example, here I put a picture of a pressure gauge that it was before analog and then is now having different format where it is more sort of digitalized in a way, presenting the numbers more precise about the pressure. But also refers to use of other type of things like now Excel or any other means to capture data, because before everybody in the ship, in the crew, will take in data in a piece of in a piece of paper by hand, writing the data they were collecting in the machinery room. But now it's all with tablets. Now you collect the data straight away into a system, and all this captures there straight away. So digital transformation, in the way how DMV has been perceiving it, is also a cultural thing, not so much about the country. I'm talking about the organization, how the organization wants to see this transformation and improve the operation, looking for more efficient ways to manage the information, to do processes, simple processes. So with all this connectivity, obviously, you start thinking about, okay, we are going to digitalize the whole vessel. But in reality, it's not. We are talking about here a smart digital ships. What it means means that there are different, because to digitalize and put, for example, we are talking about autonomous vessels, it's not for everybody, and it's not for every vessel, or it's not for every company. It depends of the strategy of every company, what they want to achieve, and what is the best for every ship. So, for example, there are talking about connectivity, data transfer to instant data transfer to onshore, high degree of, for example, sensors, not only inside the vessel, but also outside, that is measuring the speed, the waves, the wind, so many things that are able to capture this and navigate in more efficient way. Also in the machinery room to detect when is better to increase the speed. For example, the engines, when are, for example, using more fuel, and it's to slow down, and things like this. So all these digital systems start to get connected. And what is the point of this? To look for efficiency, to look for information accurate and faster to take decisions. And with all this connectivity is where I pointed here a little bit of cybersecurity. So, which I'm going to point, because this presentation could be 4 hours, and actually we have courses and modules where we talk different topics. Digitalization is one thing, autonomous vessels is another thing, cybersecurity, so it's big and dense topic. So I am giving you just a very quick overview of the part of cybersecurity. So here I am presenting something very quickly because not wanted to go into much detail, but there are 2 types of technology. The one for information, which is what we all know about network, the simple things like emails, accounts, maintenance planning in a software, electronic manuals, certificates, and all of this that you can store in a system. And then there is the operation technology, which is basically what is now the new integrated systems to improve the navigation, the propulsion, the steering, the power generation, the auxiliary systems. So all of these come into a cloud and join together to make what I mentioned earlier, to make it more efficient and taking decisions in a faster way. So with all of this merging and getting more connected is where it comes the trends, the threats, risks, and incidents in the maritime industry. So I'm going to show you a little video. Hopefully the sound is okay. Is it? It's not coming out, the sound. Oh, yes.
All right, I think we got what we want.
He just did what he thought was common procedure.
Uh-oh. Bad practice. Breaking in shouldn't be that easy.
I made sure it looked really legitimate. Logo, layout, sender's email address, everything.
Okay, excellent job.
Cybercrime is a rapidly growing threat to almost all aspects of modern life, and the shipping and offshore industries are no exception. Onboard systems are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks. Safety of the ship has entered a new dimension.
So we prepared some fake emails for the rest of the crew, sent from the shipping company, asking them to verify critical information like usernames and passwords and bank information.
Today, hackers are becoming more and more sophisticated, and by the time you realize that something is wrong, it is usually too late. Connecting personal devices to operational equipment leaves a gaping hole in an otherwise tightly secured system.
The phone was just plugged into a computer on the bridge network. Should I try my ghost chip program?
There's something wrong with the Ectis. 2 ships, nothing on the radar. Can't see anything.
There's no issue. Must be something wrong with Ectis then.
This is just incredible. Now let's slow down the propulsion.
We're losing speed. What's going on here?
Once the malicious software has infected one computer, it may quickly spread to others connected to the same network. Think before you click. Research the facts behind emails and their attachments. Make sure external drives and USBs are clean. Be aware when third parties access your systems or data. Protect your passwords. Never connect personal items to the ship critical systems. Never use external Wi-Fi for company emails or downloads unless the network is protected and safe. Learn how backup and restore is done on board your ship. Always report errors and mistakes. Educate yourself on cyber risks and how it affects your ship, your colleagues, and you personally. Cybersecurity is just as much a question of culture and mindset as it is technology. GUARD and DNVGL hope the maritime industry will establish and follow best practices for cybersecurity awareness.
Okay, so hopefully you found it interesting. Here I wanted to plot a little bit of numbers about how the cyber attacks, despite we are having more awareness about this, is still increasing and increasing. DNV produced some research. For example, in these cases, we have published this maritime cyber priority for questionnaire. We interview 889 people that works in the industry in more than 50 countries, all of them in different sort of roles, and obviously 5 of our DNV experts in this topic. So if you want to download it, it's free of access. You just go to dnv.com, look for these maritime cyber priorities, and then you will find it. It's all the questionnaire and everything, and it's how increasingly is this affecting. There is different topics here. For example, there are threats that are probably internal and unintentional, like for example here, the poster on the top of the screen of some crew member putting the password and the credentials. Other ones that are external and intentional, like updating a software for the ballast water, which it might affect the function of the vessel. and other ones that are external and intentional, like the attacks of ransomware, or internal and intentional by someone actually putting a USB in a system like what we saw in the video. So all of them can come quite unexpected. There are viruses, there are ransomware, there are threats that comes from third party, and these cyber incidents, well, here I can just jump into many sophisticated words like spoofing, jamming, phishing attacks, malware, ransomware, which if you want to know what it means, everyone I can explain, but all of them have the same function, is to attack the vessel, and that compromise not only the safety of the systems, but the crew, and also the safety of the environment, the cargo, everything that can affect. So I don't understand why there is no coming some pictures here, but okay. There were pictures in every board. But anyway, the more vulnerable systems are, like you saw in the bridge, the propulsion, machinery, and power management, because as you saw, once this attack, they were losing speed. There are also parts of rooms where they are very protected, and the access to those rooms might be locked, because if the doors are connected to a digital system, well, that can be locked from far away. Administrative communication, for example, now you could not communicate onshore for support or anything, or within the vessel, then you cannot speak to other members in the crew. So here is one of the most common reasons why the systems get vulnerable, because there is an inadequate security configuration. The safety the critical equipment always connect with shore. So for example, not necessarily all the time the vessel needs to be connected to onshore, but what is really critical to be connected and what it can be disconnected when you are sailing. Inadequate access controls for third parties. So whenever is someone on board, like a maintenance personnel or someone that is going to do some checks, like inspection companies, they are also third party, and how we manage those access to those people when they are on board. Outdated or missing antivirus software, the IT, OT network lacking boundaries, protective measures, and obviously obsolete and unsupported operating systems. I believe you all have your phones, and time to time you see an update from your software, the software of your phone, they say that it needs to be updated. So this is what it needs, regular updates. So what is in DMV for us, the big three pillars? So the pillars is, as we all have common sense, is technology. But with the technology is not only the hardware of installing new systems in the vessel, and the software configuration, the encryption and monitoring of this, but also our processes. And this is, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a cultural organization strategy. So if the management says, we want to go this direction, that needs to be documented and plan in a management system. It has to be a governance framework. There must be some procedures, some ways to audit those processes and follow up. But the main one, the core for, in my personal view, are people. So in the people, is where we spend most of the time, because it's where is the weak point, let's say it. As you saw in the video, it's just a matter that someone connects a USB that is infected into the bridge, and then that is spreading the whole thing. So, and it's not the actual technology, and it's not the actual process. It's about how our crew members are trained and aware of the different risks, how they are upskilled, because of course, given the trend of the industry, there is needed to be more education into this type of how to manage the systems, the new technology, but also to manage the risks. And with this, you need to create drills in different way. No, it's the drill of a fire alarm and let's go all out, but what happens if there is a cyber attack, how we all react into this emergency moment. On obviously how we manage our authorizations and authentication, not having a poster on top of the screen with the password and the login details. So with this, what we are looking is to basically secure the whole ship. Some physical procedural security that protects the vessel system using access, like patching access cards, locking cards, maintenance scans, human firewall. But then we create another layer of ship network security that protects the zones. So it's a bit small here, but basically every system can be also divided in zones. For example, like what you have in fire alarms, depends of where it's detected. You can divide the zones of these in different, depends on how big is the vessel, of course, and it goes into many considerations, but this division of zones, not so much in fire detection, but also into the systems of that you have in the vessel, the propulsion, the navigation can be also a way to contain the attack. And then there are also system barriers that protect individual systems with barriers such as encryption, user control, and authentication, removing the device, for example, like the ballast water. If there is the system of the ballast water is digitalized, so you have a special protection that you can, when you go to the machinery room, can unlock or modify it. But then that is different barriers to protect the normal function of the ship. So more or less that would look like this, with different layers. So with a management system that has the hope that it comes from the management about how this is going to be implemented and how it's going to be given to the whole operation of the vessel. Then there is obviously physical hardware design that will basically control of this connection of the systems and the network segmentation. And finally, obviously, the extra secure is how this configuration is able to meet also the basic regulations, which I will show you is a bit like very long triangle. But before going there, I wanted to show you these pictures. This is Prince Williams. I believe everybody knows him. It's going to visit the Air Force station, I imagine in the UK. I'm not sure 100% where it was. But when it was taken the picture by the normal journalist, well, this was highlighted where he was. It was a print screen with the connected, with the password and login details for something that they probably use in the airspace army. So this is something that simply cannot happen. If you want to protect your ship, you basically need to have the password and your login details protected. And also start to think about strong passwords, like no 1, 2, 3. That is why I know that we all have this in different personal things, in different apps, in the bank, in whatever, your Gmail account, that you need, the system asks you, it needs to be 8 letters long or 8 characters, and it has to have numbers, and it has to be capitals and normal letters. It's for a reason. Yes, it's more, although we think it's making our life more harder, but it's for a reason, it's for a protection. Here, I just wanted to highlight what I mentioned earlier about contractors and third parties going on the vessel. Sometimes they carry USBs and they connect to the systems of the vessel, so that needs to be also protected. And very well documented. How is that managed? How much access are we going to give to the third-party companies when they come on board? How are they going to interact with our system? So that needs to be. And lastly is well, I put this one, like USB, and Pachi knows this. It's a pain, but this is, I can tell you now that in my company, in DMV, is forbidden to use USB. So all computers are locked. We cannot extract or put information in the USBs. So basically, the only way that we have to share information is with the cloud, with sending links and everything. It's a bit more pain, but I am sure this is for a reason, because the company wants to protect that not going to be any attacks. This is the requirements I mentioned earlier. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but it's basically all started with a framework from the industry in cybersecurity, not only maritime. But here we have IMO, that is, or IMO, that is basically producing the first start of how the vessels needs to be protected. Then comes IAX, that comes all together, all the main society, the class societies, and produce some requirements for the function of the vessel. DMV, we have here some guidance that we have produced and also can be downloaded from our website for free, and give some indications of how the systems needs to be operated and how they can be secured. And in addition, we have these other specific requirements that basically by these regulations, IAX, at least for any new vessel that has been signed to be constructed from July 2024, it needed to be already comply with cybersecurity class notations. On top of this, obviously, that implies also the equipment that is going to be on board and everything that will operate in a connectivity. So that we call here E26 and E27. So an overview. All of these that I mentioned, it needs to start with a risk assessment. So every information depends on the information and the operational technology that you are handling every day. You need to see how these interactions with different systems and how they can be a risk if they are attacked, and how this can affect the whole vessel. So the first part is to do this risk assessment and understand the operation of the systems in the vessel. So there are this process that we have identified that will help you to do this risk assessment. So first, to identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Once you have done the risk assessment, so you can implement all these measures, you have been able to identify what are potential risks, how to protect those systems, how in case of an attack, how to detect them quickly enough and respond to not make it that spread in the whole other systems. And obviously it needs to be a plan to recover your operation quickly. So all of this sounds a bit complicated, and in DMV, I don't want to make so much publicity about my company, but it's just I mentioned this because it sounds overwhelming sometimes, and it's more about where to start and how to start and where to find information. So we support the onboard assessment and testing. We also support to do a risk assessment of possible cyber attacks. We support in the documentation or the development of the management system procedures and how to train the crew. That's an important part. We also offer training in cybersecurity and digitalization. And then when we go through this change of management, because at the end is all about the culture of the company, how the company wants to go ahead with the digitalization. by the way, which in this report that I mentioned at the beginning, despite all these risks and scary cyber attacks, the people that we have surveyed, they have still confidence that they want to go ahead with digitalization. So it's not a matter that is to scare people off about not going into digital. It's more about how to manage those risks. And here in the last part is mostly related to once the ships are on operation, what can be, we have systems to support the connectivity, the tracking, the response without any sort of malicious attacks. And in the part of new building, as I mentioned, any new buildings from 2024 needs to have already built in a certain security in cyber. Obviously, there are some other things like it has to be bigger than 500 gross ton, and obviously it also has to be sailing in international waters. If it's national waters, it's not mandatory, but is advisable. So in summary, I just wanted to not extend too much, and as I mentioned, there is too much literature in this. So I will share this, but if whoever is interested, there are in all of these type of topics that can be downloaded from the website for free. There are different webinars, publications. We have the advisory service that not necessarily is related to the classification, but someone that can advise you what to do on your operation. And if you have any questions, I have left also some links here about digitalization in shipping, advances in autonomy and remote operation, and I also leave another link here about maritime cybersecurity, the mandatory IACS unified requirements for shipping and suppliers from July 2024. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I didn't bore you with this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carolina. We have time for one, maximum 2 questions before the coffee break. Dimitar.
First of all, thanks for your very comprehensive presentation. It was very useful and it raised our awareness about cybersecurity. Just one suggestion, how to respond to the cyber incidents. I think that we many years in our professional organizations we discuss how we have to behave, and so always we insist on keeping traditional skills and the possibility of manual operation of these most important operations on board, like navigation, like engine control. We have to have that traditional knowledge.
Yeah.
And it was very well shown on your video that after jamming and spoofing of EGDIS, the officers and the captain, they went on the window and they
couldn't see anything.
Yes, but in that case, you have to come back to the traditional skills, and I think that it's very important to keep these traditional skills, either the new generations during the education and training, or to raise the awareness of the people who are joining the ship to be able to operate manually the most important equipment on board. Thank you.
Yes, correct. You are correct. And then that is the main point I point out is the training of the crew, and just create that awareness of risks in the cyber, but also if you document this in a procedure where you say, okay, we're gonna digitalize this, but in case of an attack, you know how to identify, shut it down, and go back to the traditional way. So this is how you document and give that training to the crew. It's basically that, yeah, okay.
I think Andrew had another question.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was really interesting. I've just got, I guess, a comment and a question. It's all about technology. You know, the solutions for security is, you know, related to the technology, the process, and the people. And I think you mentioned that people is the weak point. And in my view, while people are involved with it, there will always be successful cyber attacks because we're all human.
We're all human. Yeah.
So, will we ever get to a point where technology and process get so strong that the people are no longer necessary to protect the security?
You're asking me if there will be that point.
Yeah. Do you think? Do you think the advancements in technology
Yes.
will mean that we're not in a place that
No,
that a person can
Yes.
jeopardize his security?
I don't think that the people will be no longer necessary. It's just it will be relocated. Let's put it that way. And then that relocation, what it means is that we'll need different skills and probably understanding other risks. So I don't believe, for example, in my case in DMV, we are digitalizing a lot of things and even the inspections because we need to go on board and do the surveys. And what we are thinking also is to do remote inspections, which is going to improve the efficiency for the vessel that is probably having few hours on board and needs to leave quite quickly. We don't manage to get an inspector quickly, so it has to be remotely. And the fear is, the company is going to get rid of the surveyors, and it's not that case. It's just how then the surveys or the checks has to be done differently. And how you train that new skills that needs to be handled in a different way. So it's our view, it's personal also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question, actually, with regards to technology. I was internally laughing when you opened, Carolina, with saying about, within your own company, about the click rate. Right?
Yes.
Same in the company I was working for. It was almost laughable. Yeah. And sometimes the trend would just, people will click.
Yeah.
And that's your point, isn't it? People will click. That's just, because on the other side of the spectrum, that's what we're being trained. That is, our whole world nowadays is about clicking. Click on this, click on that. So people will click, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So back to that question, because I'm still intrigued. Do you then agree, because you've got the three angles, people, technology, and processes. There will always be issues in people and processes.
Correct.
And you can write yourself to death on processes with the people still clicking. So the question is DNV focusing on the technology, and will there ever be a filter? Because I think I've heard that is the golden bullet. If you can create a technology, a digital filter between the big cloud and your operating systems on board your vessels, because that's clearly the biggest risk. How can you protect your operating systems on board the vessel? Can you actually build a technology filter between those two? Because that will be a major step in avoiding potentially what we saw on the video.
Exactly. Well, I mentioned, DNV as such is not going to build this, but what it can is regulate, create the requirements of the systems. So it's the industry that needs to produce the system, and then DNV what is regulating that. And a simple thing about this in the new constructions that we have now that's mandatory, cybersecurity, we call it essential. In another class society can call different, but in this one, there are certain systems where, as you mentioned, there is a barrier. And the requirement requires that that system has to have this barrier of access, and also in case of an attack, how it locks to protect the operation. So these requirements are already in place for critical functions of the vessel, like navigation, like propulsion, and these kind of things. So for these ones, yes, is built in our regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Before we go to the coffee break, Dimitar wants to give you something.
You can tell me. You can. Yes.
Thank you for your interesting presentations. I hope you stay for the rest of the seminar because the next topic is jamming and spoofing. I think you can contribute, but
thank you very much.
I'm sorry, you're the second, but you're a lady, so I have to start with you. As a memory for your participation. That's our flag.
Sí.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Still the stick, yes.
I put on the office. Here, in the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Our tradition.
After coffee, okay.
If there is enough space, be careful, you need to ask them because cybersecurity.
Yes.
Because they have a couple of.
Yes, maybe.
So we need to ask. Maybe we can ask the lady.
Very nice, thank you.
But you know what is this? You know what is this?
Picture?
Tell me.
That is Astrolab.
Astrolab. Okay.
No?
It's for army lads.
I think it's Astrolab. That is a former equipment.
Okay, we need a picture. Picture.
Vamos a sacar una foto. Aquí mismo, abajo.
¿Ahí abajo? ¿Dónde? ¿Ahí? Okay.
Se me ha comentado para poner algo de fondo.
Sí, algo de fondo porque...
Yo no tengo nada, ¿eh?
No tienes, te lo puedo pasar.
Vale, sí, pero bueno, en USB.
En bueno, lo que... sorry. Estás the next presentation.
Okay.
Cybersecurity is clear. It's not KGB.
This one?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so...
Come presentazione di conclusione.
Okay. Okay, was perfect. Okay.
This for going up and down is.
Yes, and we have the. Oh, sorry. We have the.
This.
Presenter. Okay. So forward and reward.
This is
or
back.
if you prefer, here or.
This is going back, no?
Okay, yes. Okay. And this is forward. Forward? Back. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, and this is for the pointer, if you want.
Yes. Perfetto. Grazie. Grazie. What is it?
No, si lo tienes aquí, lo puedo poner con un USB o algo, te lo puedo pasar al desde el teléfono.
Es casualidad que el que tengo es el que ha salido en el periódico que ha salido mal.
No, it's not this.
No, this. Is this one?
This one.
Voy a pedirlo, ¿te lo subo arriba?
Okay.
Sí, tengo yo ahí un adaptador y intentamos pasarlo a OTP.
Vale, perfecto.
Un po' di emozione.
Emozione. Parla italiano?
Sei sono italiano.
Ah, soy
Lei è spagnola, no?
es colombiana.
Colombiana.
Sì, parlavo con ma se tu vieni qui, io ho
Poner de fondo el señor. Le quisiera, pero no sé. Sí, lo ha grabado con Susana.
Welcome again. Hope you have some coffee and we are all more awake now. So we are going to move to a more operational challenge, which is the GNSS interference. So for our next presentation, we have Captain Giovanni Legis of CMPC and Captain Antonio Raggi of USLAC. I think it's only Antonio is going to talk. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for I try to keep your attention on these important problems that we can find on our vessel when we are on the sea. Just as you know, we living now in very strange times. Somebody tell that we live in the World War III in pieces, and this is, I think, that is a dramatic situation in some part of the world. And the seamen that are in this area, in some particular area, have plenty problem. Because one aspect of the world that we live in, if it's not declared directly, but the situation is this, is that, as the story that we know, since the plenty century ago, the seaman is involved in this situation. And we can find that in some particular area, very big problem. Just yesterday, I read one report that in the Black... Okay, thank you. Just yesterday in the Black Sea, the European system for control the boundary is Frontex, have tested a system for detecting the jamming and the spoofing that we find in this area. And is planned to building some patrol vessel from Romania, maybe, that must be checking around the Black Sea the situation about this big problem. Just before, we have speak very well with, about the cybersecurity, and this argument is part of the cybersecurity. As you know, in the vessel we have plenty critical equipment, and first of all, we have the GNSS system. That is the system that permitted to us to fix the position of the vessel. Our generation, my generation, is coming from the traditional transit from the traditional system to this electronic system. Just before Dimitri, the president, reported that the only way that we have for detecting, for safe to take a decision is going back to the traditional system. We have principal two kinds of the problems. We have the jamming and the spoofing. That came very actually in this year, in this last year. The jamming is international signal obscured that block the reception of the system. In this case, we detect it immediately because we lost the position, lost all signal. The spoofing is the transmission of fast signal. This is a big problem, it's a more big problem, because you think you are in one position and after you are in a wrong position. The impact result is very operational risk, such grounding, such collisions, some of these, if we don't make a correct reaction on this problem. You see, the equipment that we have on the bridge, the principal system that we have on the bridge for the sailing is the ACTIS. You know that now plenty vessel is paperless. We don't have a more traditional card, Mercatore chart or something of this. And, if we lost this system, we don't have any possibility to find the position, correct position, if we don't go back to the traditional system, just for fix the position with radar or something of this that is not affected with this system. Also, the young generation, I am retired from the sea 3 years ago, but I see the young generation officer that make the watch all times just looking in these systems, and it's very few times that look around. This is also the mentality that we must be try to change first of the all. It's correct put our life and of all crew in the hand of only the new system. This is a big question. I believe that is important to make instruction to change something in the rules and the program that we have for officer, not only for the deck officer, but also for the engine officer and all compartment of the vessel, that we have also the manual system that is for plenty century proceeding the navigation with this system. I remember that when I was a cadet, we sailing from Gibraltar, going Norfolk, and we don't have nothing, only sextant that take the position, we arrive with this system. This is one my opinion about this. No? Going back about this problem that is coming, the principal area that is affected this problem with the GPS system is the Baltic Sea and North Sea, Northern Europe, strong disturbance attributed to Russian electronic warfare, impacting thousands of ships near Kaliningrad. You know, you have Kaliningrad, this is an enclave, a Russian enclave in Poland, and is very, very strong. And is not continually this system. No? One day is a problem, the second day there is no problem, is plenty problem. Another area is the Black Sea, is the area that there is the world is, no? This is pieces of the third world in pieces that I speak before. Another part is the Eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Middle East, you know about the Mandeb, Red Sea, the Houthi, this area, we have sometimes a big interference. Another that is very actually is the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. But is important what's make the Frontex now, that if you have possibility to send all days, all times, you have some patrol vessel that send a message to say, warning, there is this problem here, we can take a decision, the master, put the master in decision to take some safe action. You see here there is this part of the world. Now the last notice that I received, also there is a problem. Before it was in Venezuela, near the coast of Venezuela. Now starting some problem also in Cuba, near Cuba. It's the first signal that there is something that is going very strange. We have the regulation from the IMO that you know that there is this problem, but is not directly, still now, is starting, as you tell before, from 2024, just for the risk assessment for cybersecurity. But is in progress, this work, but is not directly for the exit system. We have only the company, the instruction from the company, the risk assessment for this problem, but we don't have still now directly instruction from the IMO that we have a possibility that now we see before to make some prevention and some protection for the vessel. You see, I've assessed critical because you know the SMS integration risk assessment, but we have the GPS that from the GPS there is the ACTIS, ICE, communication, voyage data record also, that this is very important, no? Everybody that was on the vessel, you know the importance that we have the GPS system. Is important also have the analysis of the document that we have the probability of interference based on operation routes. No, if you forecast that you sailing in the central, in the South Atlantic Ocean or in the Pacific, is less the problem, because we have seen that since now is restricted some area about this. We must be put in nation tactical protection, implement network segment to isolate the navigation system from generality networks that we see before. This is a part of the cyber security. And also we have the BIMCO GuidSlam. Many companies use the guidance of the cyber security on board the ship as a reference. But there is, as I repeat, there is not still one specific about the GPS system. Is a very, very important to identify the jamming that is more easy because we lost the signal. improvisely we lost the signal. If we have one system that you see that working only in GPS, that is the American system, we lost the signal. I tell GPS, we have only the GPS, because we see in next passage that we have a possibility to using some equipment that working. We have not only GPS system, we have Galileo, that is European. After we have the system that is Russian, there is a system from China, from South Korea, from Japan, this country. You know, the GPS is born as a military using, just all aircraft, all something military using this system, also for send one rocket following this system. You have a W system because also you have a system for the navigation difference. The spoofing is a more problem because we have a wrong signal on the system, and the first thing that I suggest to do is when we are approaching in some area, is just take the position not only by the GPS system, but with the bearing, visual, or radar. That this is the system that don't is infected by this spoofing system. Also, another possibility that we have, that we see that the vessel speed change without reasons, but very big change. We're passing from 12 knots to 18 knots. Is not a problem by the currents, but is a problem for the signal. Also the course, you see that the course is maintaining, but it change. You see that using the magnetic compass, and you see that the course change, but the magnetic remains same. This is another signal that we have. Also, is a discrepancy in the system is a time of just automatic clock data. We see that the time is a change on the GPS system. And also the IS, we give some problem. It give a multi-target for the same ships. Sometimes it make just not influenced by the GPS system, but from the vessel that is in the area that have some strange interest. There is some underground, undersea cable or something for this, and they put plenty different position of the vessel. You see that I speak about this. I don't want to alarm you, but I tell that the time is this that we're living on the sea. No, is a change the life of the sea master in the last times. We have these strange, I tell strange times that we're living. No, the jamming signal, I repeat, is a signal obscurated. A spoofing is a signal that give the errors. You know, the system, we don't want to go directly inside of the system that working the GPS system, but we have plenty of satellites that give our position, and we have some equipment that can detect the different signal from different satellites that send to us. This is can be able to detecting if we have some problem. We must be applied to the some countermeasure against this problem. as we see before with the cyber security, is to mitigate the risk, and the authorities recommended to multi-level approach. The system redundancy that we see, I tell you before, one system that we have equipment that don't working only the GPS, but we working on the Galileo, GLaNOS, and the other system that we have. I tell you before that we still now don't have directly rules about this. I hope that the IMO in the next future make one rules that the system for fixing the position on the vessel must be only that working with a different possibility to working different signal. And also that he working simultaneously with the signal that we receive and make a confront that make the checking if some system going out of the order. Is Galileo giving one position, GPS another, going conflict, and checking what's happening. Also, it's important that I tell you before to make a checking. I tell you before that the young generation stay all times with the ACE fixed in the ACDIS, no? But the important is must be checking with the radar, the position, fix the position, take some visual position as we make before, no? When we go in Northern Europe, that there is still no work in the LORAM or this first system that we have. We take DECA or some system. We take the position. We say, okay, this is the buoy number 3. We are must be. My opinion is must be going a little bit back and make instruction for the young people that we have the possibility of this. I hope that this is only one period of the life of the sea, that tomorrow we have the peace and everything is, we hope everybody, of course. Also is the antenna. The antenna is another main point that we must be, that we can using. There is special antenna that is RPA, controlled reception pattern antenna, to isolate the valid signal. If you say that you have a different signal, this antenna that still we have been using can isolate the signal that is detecting the signal, and they say this is not a correct signal. This is another way that we can suggest to the IMO to make approaching for this cause. Manual navigation, disconnect GNSS input from EGDIS, and which the recording. Everybody that know the EGDIS, that we can isolate the system that fix the position directly, and using the chart that we have, electronic chart, as a raster chart on the PPI, and we using as a Mercatore chart, that we must be taking the position from the radar and the reporter in this case. Because I make last times vessel that we are paperless. We don't have any chart. Before, in the first times that was make the ACTIS, we have the Italian government required some chart that say with chart take me home, no? That if the ACTIS don't working, we have the chart just for proceed with the navigation, just for arrive in safety position. But if you don't have this chart, you must be using ACTIS as a raster chart on this. And also, emergency response is a reporting about this, no? We must be, the vessel this is around, that he don't know that, or you see that he don't have information, is using VCF channel 16 just to make pam 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 ice and the GPS position are just for inform another vessel. It is important if to switch on the now that the vessel have all times more or less the light is switched on, but if it's during the night, this must be also put in this. Also must be make the incident recording and report coordinate, type of disturbance, il logbook, Navaria, local coast authority must be informed that we have this problem. I tell you before that now the Frontex is starting this monitoring for this problem. Also, I suggest to take a picture for just with the machine for the ECDIS and the error that is reported on the VDR system, that is the black box that we have on the vessel. And also must be make the planning to make the use GNS receiver user manual to identify specific error codes relative to the signal. The GPS can give us one error normally, no? You know the manual that we have for the GPS system. There is one number, but we must be going to checking what is this number, no? That is reported spoofing or something, this wrong position or something of this. Anti-jamming technology, I say that there is the possibility that using some equipment is a digital filter that is identification and supporting inference, inertial integration, ENS system. This is a system that I don't believe that the owners put on the vessel, but is one system that don't using the GPS signal for using. Also, the technology is proceeding. Just if you think that in the last time is just testing some special equipment that using is very little, but using paragraph that came from the quantistic system that fixed the position of the vessel. Is in the future maybe that we can using this. And after I have a different system for find for resolve the problem. You see, this is the antenna that I tell you before, that we have the possibility to use in this special antenna that can help us for reduce the jamming problem. Is one filter, no? That checking the signal from different systems that we received and detecting the only correct signal. Also, there is the RIME, works for spoofing. The RIME is a receiver autonomous integrative monitoring, verificate the signal integrity of the GPS signal. It's checking whether weather position data is reliable or affected by that is not affected. It warns operation and dangerous position errors caused by anomaly or spoofing. We have the system, but I repeat, this system, since now, is not included in the IMO resolution. This is very, very important that we must be integrated the IMO rules.
I know that you're working about this, but you know, every day is 1 day more that we put the crew in some dangerous position. Anti-spoofing technology is satellite redundancy required. Minimum 5, I say you that there is a possibility with this antenna that we using different signal from the satellite. You see in this case, we have 5 satellites, dictates error and the trigger lost integrity alarm. If it is a 6, while navigation continues. Identifies excluded the following satellites while navigation continues. Is the number of the signal that we received from the satellites. GPS anti-spoofing technology, correct alarm configuration, enable RAIM not available or integrally alarm, GNS this setting. We can using this system that we put on the ECDIS. Set all according to navigation area offshore, 0.1, 0.5 nautical miles, coast ports 10, 25 meters. That we have some different position. We have this possibility. You see in the open sea, of course, offshore, we have a more large range. Also set the visual alarm on the values of above. Detecting signal anomaly early, reduces spoofing impact by isolating false signal, support high resolution MSC 40195 complicas, improves bridge signals hours. And this is one report that we must be using, that I suggest for the company to put in the risk assessment for the vessel, that we find that we have all information about this. Nothing. This is all a part of the discussion that we make before concerning the cybersecurity. You see, I repeat, it's a very strange times that we're living now, and I suggest, as I tell before, to improve for the new generation the traditional system for navigation. Is not rhetoric by one man that we have living directly the change on the vessel, no? That I said before. We have the first times that are going on back on the vessel is in 1974. I remember that the master have the key of the radar just here, and using the radar only when we are approaching in Santos or in some place, no? We have the right-on, this big right-on system, and they're using this system. After, yes, after the technology have a new approaching for the life on the sea, something is very, very, very good, no? Because if you think how many times we passing just to take one star, to fix the position, is clouding, you don't take the position. And also, this situation, we must go look in the future. I tell you that you can using the progress a different system for navigation. We speak about quantistic system applied for the navigation, but also must be as using in all the jobs, looking a little bit to the traditional system for the experience, for the past. Nothing. This is just for keep you in touch about this problem that we living on the sea. The USLAC and the Collegio Capitani is a representative of Italian Sea Master, and we learn what he reported, about the master and the person that is on the sea in these times. we have a vessel that, you know, from the Mediterranean, so from this area crossing the Suez Channel and proceeding down and say, oh, last times I lost completely the signal, I give me the wrong position, and must be just to improve the rules, and must be sometimes the owners must be spend some money more just for give to the vessel the new technology for using this possibility that we have for save the life on the sea. That is the first of our target in this moment. A little bit forget sometimes the economical interesting thing for just for checking that on the sea is the first target that we have. I remember that somebody say, if you save one life, you save all humanity, and this is the first of our target. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the floor?
Thank you very much. I just want to tell you with a technology mistake. We go to response with technology, who also can be with mistake. What is it with, for example, astronaut navigation? I have my cousin who worked in American military, and the last 20 years, it's obligatory to know the astronaut navigation. You also in Croatian, until now they didn't change. You can pass the test for officer or for the captain without astronaut navigation. Just simple question. Thank you.
Yes. Working? No.
Okay, take this one then.
Oh, yes. Just is it true what you tell? If you think that some years ago, the US Navy sent the officer to Italian Academy of Navy in Livorno just for learn, for can be able to using the sextant and the system that we were using before. Because he understands that there is in our experience, in our bags, that we have the humanity to using the whole system. If you think that the progress is starting very, very far, no? You remember Christopher Colombo when they go in the America, you can find the latitude, but he then cannot find the longitude because he don't have the watch, that we have not the longitude. He understands that he can following one latitude, but not the progress for the longitude. And the humanity starting from this, no? That after also, if you think that the first system for radio navigation, that we call this in general, was using after Guglielmo Marconi with the radiogoniometro. And also during the Second World War is starting the first system that using for fixed the position during the landing in the Normandy. The Americans using something that after is changed with the worm that is still using for the aeroplane that when they're landing. He using this system that was sent behind the lines, the German lines, that send a different signal in different way. And if you take one line, if you go in here to take it 3 point already, and he go directly on Omaha Beach because he following this signal directly without loss the position. It's a progress. I tell you that we have plenty, the humanity now is a continuing progress. The quantistic system applied for fixed the position in basis of the magnetic camp of the land is something that is very revolutionary, if you think it is. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice presentation, and it's quite thick.
Say Antonio, the most officers now, they don't know where is the sextant on board. They don't know, not to use. Where is the sextant? With the last period I was on board, I just joke. Where is the sextant? I don't know. But this is do use just in case. But we have the same. You remember when I was on board some years ago, we had the same problem with the gyro compass. The gyro compass is very large, but it was the gyro compass was out of order. We go by the magnetic. But you have to know to go by the magnetic. And thank you for Antonio for your speech. Just I can say one more. One problem is the bridge control, because the most bridge control to the engine room and vice versa. Because now the cyber introduce on the digital control. Now they come back, the most of ship, they control by hand. Because it was by the cyber going introduced by the digital control. Yeah. For the speed, in maneuvering, it was touched that slow at, it was half at. You stop, the ship not stop. In some cases happened, but they, fortunately, here we see. But now the new ships, passenger ship, the most, they come back to control by hand. This is for the transfer the order from the bridge control to engine room and vice versa. For the last generation. I don't know what's happening with the hotspot, if this is concerning the hotspot or not. At that moment, I don't know, but we see what's happening with the hotspot in the maneuver control. This is for that reason.
Some question more?
Well, just a very nice presentation, and it's quite important timing because we have this new regulation for the autonomous ship. Yeah, just is, it will be very soon in force. So it's very important that you open this subject here. From the practice, I noticed some of the ships, they already mitigate with risk implementing the e-LORAN. I saw it in practice. But the most important that actually people are aware of limitation of equipment. Not all of them, especially newer generation, they just completely blindly believe to the picture on EGDIS, unfortunately. And they are not aware. Awareness is very low from my opinion of view. And I have in the last couple of years, several situations as a pilot. I joined in the BRICSAM. And one of the first things, you know, after I do pilot to master exchange, I ask where is the navtex and just double check the messages. So many times I noticed that sometimes for 2-3 days they didn't receive any message. The reason was somebody forgets to update the station list. And then you have 3 officers on the bridge, and definitely at least most of them, at least for one or 2 watches, they should receive the next station, maybe new cab, something like this. That means for 24 hours, nobody, at least for 24 hours, depends on the speed of the vessel, they were in range of this navtex station. Nobody didn't figure out that you are coming to the busy area, that is normal to receive something.
Yes, yes.
If you didn't receive nothing from 24 hours, that means something is wrong with the equipment, or you didn't set up the equipment properly. Basically, many of the new generation guys, they are completely not aware of everything and limitation of equipment. And we need to make them aware of this one. So this is a very nice presentation.
Yes, thank you. Just to repeat, for progress, I believe is not only because I speak as old man, must be believe that we must be looking in the future, that is the opportunity, is the progress, but keeping one watch on the past. This is the principal reason that I decided to make this a little bit conference. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Sorry, you spoke. Thank you. You spoke about to use different system, GPS, Galileo, GLaNOST, etc. Do you know approximately the percentage of vessels equipped with the possibility to receive these different satellite system?
No, I don't have this information. I know that it's a political problem, more or less, because the GPS, as all these systems, also the European system, Galileo, have one key. This key we can switch on, off, spoofing, and everybody. In the side of American prefer to proceed with the GPS because there is one parameter in the GPS that is called code of delay. Is the code that all system using is electronic parameter that delayed the signal but can permit to fix the correct position. This is very important because in case of the big war, it changed this code of delay and they lost everything. In Europe, we have Galileo and have a same system. Galileo is more exactly that is a new generation of system. Just when we have make Galileo in Europe, start some underground discussion who must have this European key. French want the key, Italy want the key, Germany want the key about this. We don't, after I think that we find some integration in this, in the future European army, something about some office in Brussels or some place. Since now the Americans have tried to put in one side Galileo. Now is a change of the wind, and I hope that Galileo take more chance, because also is more exactly and have more possibility for change information from the vessel to the shore and the signal. I know that Italian Coast Guard make one document that just speak about this, that say is an opportunity that we in the future make increasing this system. But I don't, sorry, I don't have the correct, because it's not, you don't find this information.
Yeah, because it is a way to minimize the spoofing. You have the both or three systems totally different. You can see one is giving one position, another one giving another totally different position. At that moment, even for the young generation, always in front of the screen, that can give the wake up. Say, oh, I have two positions with two different electronic systems. And the word electronic is the most important. But even for me, I don't know if any vessels has already several systems for that.
Yes, I don't find this information.
As I mentioned before, there is some vessels I have it in practice, they have it. But the problem is, nobody will spend the money if there is no regulation. Maybe somebody yes, but majority of them, they will wait for regulation to the last moment. And this is our reality, No regulation, why do we need to spend the money? Some of them, yes, but this is a really small amount of the companies that will spend the money if they don't need it,
Yes, it's l'argent che fa la guerre. Sometimes, the owners is looking the money in the pocket sometimes. Also, there is the problem that sometimes I repeat, if you sailing in some position, you crossing some position where is near some Navy vessel, there is a big confusion sometimes. I remember that I passing near one NATO exercise that there was, I lost completely all senior. Completely. In Italy, calling this GA, guerra elettronica, electronic war. And there is some area that is as one couple, no, that lost all signal. Also, the VCF is very, very difficult to receive for me information, because if there is coming some rocket or some drone, this cupola try. Is as the movie that you see, Enterprise, the movie, no, that you see this. This is the story.
And another problem is we are getting more and more equipment, and
yes. But
this is becoming quite a big problem, because you have standard, you know, how let's say, in which way charge should be presented on the ECDIS. But different ECDIS, different menus. And believe me, it's not so easy. It's not only one button, it's so many buttons, so many settings you need to change, you need to adjust. And it's definitely it's not standardized in that way that is very easy for the users. This user interface is sometimes quite different, or user experience, you know, using different equipment. So I did one lecturing, I think it was maybe now 2 years or 3 years ago, and in preparation for this one, I was doing a little bit comparison how much you need if you are using the iPhone, if you are iPhone user and you need to transfer to the Android. So to be full, you know, to make the phone call, to send one message, you will figure out very fast. But to really be completely familiar with the system that you can do all changes and settings, normally you need about 2 to 3 weeks for the phone. And how long we have handover?
Yes, is the truth.
And how many people are getting actually proper familiarization with equipment? And it's more and more equipment, and it will come into the future more and more equipment, especially when we are implementing autonomous ship, at least maybe some level to help decision to the navigator.
Yes. If you think that last notice after I finish, there was 5-6 months ago that there was a big problem with the National Marine French, that in one submarine there was one sailor that have the telephone, the smartphone on the submarine, and he sent the signal with this. Yes. Yes, same this. Send the signal, and the Russian or so, I don't know who, can identify the position of nuclear submarine about this. You can imagine. Okay, so thank you for
Thank you. We don't have time for more questions because we're well behind. So next is the straightforward discussion on the open floor, and I will give the word to Dimitar.
As a presenters, we have to give you our flags.
Grazie. Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe he wants to give to some Paxi also. Paxi wants to give you something. Yeah. I wait Paxi to finish. Wait Paxi to finish. Antonio, grazie. Very appreciated. Thank you. I speak about this.
Thank you.
Speak about this.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you very much. And now it's time to ask what is the this instrument? Traditional instrument.
Yes, yes. It's the critic.
The critical
yes.
equipment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Grazie. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we would like to have an open discussion about the Strait of Hormuz, or Hormuz Strait, and the war, and mainly focused on the captain problems he could have there, and the seafarer conditions. I don't want to interfere about the politics. I think that I'm not able to do that. But we have several things to note in that. For us, as captain and as seafarer, what is the most important problems? What are the most important problems we could have? I mean, we have more than 200 vessels actually trapped in the Arabian-Persian Gulf, which means more than 20,000 seafarers, something important. I don't know the city of Bilbao, how many citizens they have, but maybe it could be almost Bilbao. And for these people, for these seafarers now, they have a lot of problem for, as I said yesterday, to get some supplies, food supply, water, and also relief, because for them it's now 3 months trapped in the Gulf, which start to be a little bit long. And I had some discussion with French captain who were, hopefully for them, but who were in the Gulf, and who were relief, because they are in a French company. They continue to make the relief, even for their officer, but also for the crew, even if they are not French, under French flag. But we have not to forget that for the other flag, for other nationality of seafarer, it could be a real problem to be there. This is a physical problem due to, as I say, food, water, but it is also a psychological problem for them, a very big psychological problem, because they cannot have relief. Sometimes they have no information or communication with their family, not all. As I told you, the captain I met before to come, he said every day he has a video meeting with his company. But how many vessels are able to do that? I don't know. And even with that, so he has news. He say, okay, and we know how to go on internet, so we can watch TV, etc. So they have news, but is it true news or not, or false one? And also, he told me that they have news, but this news can affect a maximum their psychology. I mean, they can hear something that this is close to be finished. The strait will open soon, so they heard that at the radio, and they say in the same time, or almost in the same time, 1 or 2 hours later, we heard some bomb or some missile in the air. So the psychology, the mental of the seafarer is going up. So okay, that will finish, and suddenly done. And this is very dangerous on board after, in order to be able to work, because they have to continue to do some things. They cannot do a lot of maintenance, of course. You will not change an exhaust valve on the main engine, because you should be ready to leave as soon as possible. Even if it is not to go in the strait, but suppose you have one missile going in the vessel just near you, you have to try to leave very quickly. So this is very difficult for the people, I mean, for the seafarer to know, but also for their family. The family of the seafarer also, they know that the seafarer is on the board, is on the vessel, and he cannot leave, and he has no or few communication means, and the mental is very low for them also. And I can tell you, the captain from CMA, CGM I met, he said, no, it's okay. When I was on the vessel, I was the captain. They asked me, do you want to be relief? But he did not finish his contract, his normal contract. And he said, yes, of course, no problem. But what about the crew? I said, no, for the crew, we will wait also because we cannot say, okay, I stay because I am the captain of this crew. And I stay with them. When the contract was completed, he was relieved. And I told him, I asked him, and now you are on holidays, and at the end of your holidays, do you come back? He said me, the problem is now I'm at home, and it's my wife who gives me order. And she said no. And this is very difficult to find, that means this is very difficult to find a reliever also. On the French TV, I said yesterday, I think, on the French TV, I heard one evening a reportage, they say, this is very good for seafarer, the actual situation in the Gulf, because they have double wage. And so there are a lot of guys asking to go there. This is journalist's point of view. In fact, and I'm quite sure that it's the same thing for you with your company. The guys, the double wage is not exactly a double wage. It's a double basic wage. This is not exactly the same that the overtime wage, etc., etc. And I said that a Filipino who is paid maybe $600 per month on basic wage is not exactly even double. It's not very good. Yes. For the family, it's also a problem. Yes.
They are getting more even phone calls and emails from the family because they are even more concerned about situation, and it's very difficult for the families at home, you know, psychologically also, because they see even more news on the TV, and they are all the time bombarded with the news on the TV and the newspapers, and they were even getting some requests from the families to relieve some Siemens from the vessels, and when they contact the Siemens, they said, no, it's where we are now, it's okay, and we like to stay till the end of the contract. I mentioned yesterday, we start when the situation gets worse there, we have at that time 225 Siemens, now the last number a few days ago was 180, and from beginning only four people was asking help from the union. And everything else was going regularly through the shipping company, was done a regular crew change or relief, yeah, by the end of the contract. But we have only few occasions where the union was also involved in arranging the repatriation of the Siemens. But biggest problem is Siemens, and nobody's talking about this problem. You know, how to do with these families? Do they need also some psychological help or advice? Nobody is doing on that area, nothing for the moment also, yeah.
Yeah, the situation is not so good as they say. Psychologically, it's very important actually what are living the seafarer. Yes. Yep. Damir, give the microphone.
Yeah, thank you. This is an excellent discussion. I do think we're in a different position now to where we were at the beginning. At the beginning, shall we call it phase one, where there were projectiles flying around the Persian Gulf and there were seafarers getting killed, and we were in a new phase. We're in a different phase now, and this is an interesting discussion about the seafarers, because I have heard from various people on a sort of first-hand basis that many seafarers are now relatively happy to stay there for the reasons that you said. They're getting a little bit more money. There's supplies getting to ships. There's a bit of stability. So there are some seafarers that are quite happy to stay there. There was a period a few weeks ago where where Marina in the Philippines stopped Filipinos flying to the region. But that didn't last that long, because they realized that if they stopped Filipinos flying to the region, the Filipinos on board couldn't get home. Yeah. So it was like a double-edged sword in a way. So they had to rethink that. Within IMO, one of the NGOs, there's more than one of the NGOs, represent seafarer welfare and seafarer charity organizations, and they are constantly offering services, but they don't have a lot of uptake on it. So there's not a lot of seafarers using them at the moment, even though they're publicly going out and saying that we're willing to support you. So unfortunately, we're in this situation now where the whole situation is becoming normalized. At the beginning, it was an emergency. Now it's becoming more of a normalized situation, and people are dealing with it. But sorry, before I shut up on this, I think there's a couple of other big issues. One of them, and I was talking a little bit earlier about this, the bigger question is freedom of navigation. If you hear the Secretary General of IMO speaking, the first thing he always says is safety of seafarers. That is always, to be fair to him, regardless of all the political pressure he gets, and of course he is independent of the political opinion, but the first thing he says is always protecting the seafarer. The second thing he will say always is that we must protect freedom of navigation. Because if we look long term at the Straits of Malacca, Singapore Straits, and in addition to Hormuz and other areas in the world, then if we allow payment for transit now, who knows where that will stop, and that could change shipping for long term.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
No, thank you. And there is a particular for the captain, for the master. The captain I spoke with, when I spoke with him, he was disembarked since approximately 2 weeks. So in our association, we make a weekly meeting on the Monday afternoon. So he missed the 2 first Monday where he could be with us, but he was not with us. We had to call him, and he said, "Okay, next I will come." What does that mean? When we spoke together, he said, "When I was on board, okay, I prefer to stay with my crew, but we heard bomb, we heard etc. And I have, as master, I have to manage all the crew. Not only technically the vessel, yes, of course, but also the mental of the crew. And this is very important, and this needs to be very concentrated on that, to speak with everybody, to see all the crew members, how they are, etc., etc. This is a job, he told me, that I do daily, but not so concentrated. Daily, I met all my crew, I say good morning, 2 words, and finish. But this time, I have to stay with them and to speak with them because they have questions also about do we go, do we not go? This is a problem. And yes, I finish, I'll give you after. And why? Why he tell me, why he was able to speak with us 2 weeks after, more than 2 weeks after? Only because he need that time to recover himself already. And when something very strong happened like that, because this is something very strong, and I remember my case when I had the attack with the VLCC Limburg, I was not able to speak about that except with the authorities, and I had a lot of authorities for that, but except with authorities because they have specific questions, but I was not able to speak about that during almost 1 month with my wife. I was blocked for that. And I understand that for the captain, this is very strong situation to try to manage and to give good sense and positive attitude to the crew, even if your attitude is not so positive. Okay.
Sorry, just one more small point, which is I agree with everything that you're saying. When this first started, because obviously I'm attending IMO at every opportunity I can, and there was an emergency, an extraordinary council session soon after the Hormuz, shall we call it the war, the conflict started, which I attended that, and the one thing that I spoke about, and the one thing that a few NGOs were pushing for, is the protection of the master's overriding authority, which we felt, there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. Ultimately, with missiles flying around and possibly owners pushing vessels to exit the Persian Gulf, ultimately, for the reasons that you've just said there, he's looking after his crew, the master must have the protection of his authority, we must give that. And that still applies today. Because at some point, owners, are going to push vessels to move out, and they need to listen and respect the master's decision, because he or her is looking after their crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for the case of my colleague, he intended to go out of the strait. At first, they say no. The 2 vessels, because there were 2 vessels like that, the 2 vessels say no, it is not safe, we will not go. The management, they spoke together, they say okay, but this is the crew management. And after you have the commercial management. And at that moment, they receive, and this is what I believe, they receive a very strong pressure to try to exit. And with a lot of kind of proof that they can go safely. We are in discussion, we do that. And so the first vessel was attacked, shot. And he was the 4 on the line, and when the guard of the revolution called him to say, okay, go back to or we shot, say, I am making. At the same time, he received a phone call from this office, say, why are you doing that? we are in discussion. No, the guys, they shot. So I make the half ton. Don't tell me you are in discussion. This is my life, and the life of the crew. This is not. And the captains actually receive a very strong pressure, commercial pressure, in order to make them to go outside. Yeah.
It's an intriguing. I've got two things. One is indeed this point we're discussing here, and I'm infathomably intrigued by it. I think the point here is, or an important critical point to note is, that the master has that overriding authority to make that decision. At the same time, you can't just ignore the fact that there are other pressures in play, okay? I think the best thing we can do there is to make sure that on whatever information that commercial pressure is coming from is shared with the master. So make sure that you can look at that decision and the pressure from the same angle, right? Because I think we have to appreciate, I've got a lot of experience during the previous Gulf conflicts. I've been part of a voluntary crew, sitting outside in a Fujairah beach motel when Shell employed a voluntary rule. So people were allowed to say, I don't want to go into the Gulf. So they would then leave the vessel in Fujairah. We would go on board, bring the ship in the Gulf, get it loaded, and then out again. I think what was key there is that we had to recognize that companies, like the company you're referring to, or Shell, they probably have access to more information than we do as a master on board the ship. And there's a discrepancy there. That's when you get that discussion and that misalignment, right? So I think one of the key things here is so what can we do collectively to make sure that that information is shared more openly with, for instance, the master, to allow him to be either aligned or still say, I don't want to go. That's one thing. And I'll give them the second thing. I'm linked in here, and I don't know. Maybe some of you have seen it already. Maybe all of you have seen it, and I'm the latest one. I accept that. But around the discussion in the Maritime Safety Committee, where they accepted a resolution, where this is the Maritime Safety Committee issuing a resolution adapting and naming Iran, for the attacks on commercial shipping. And there was an interesting vote, apparently, 59 in favor, 33 absentees, and 2 against, and we probably know who the 2 are against. But the interesting point here is this, where IMO is all about engineers and nautical and operations and safety. So for the safety committee, the IMO safety committee, and I'm looking at you actually, for the IMO safety committee to come up with something which is almost like a political statement, that's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was sitting there sometimes in IMO is like being in the West End Theatre. And you just watch it because the NGOs don't say anything. At this point, but this is not IMO as such. Well, it is IMO, but it's not the Secretariat. So that paper was put in by UAE. They were the ones, and then it was debated, and of course there was a huge political debate. Secretariat stay out of it, NGOs stay out of it. So Iran was against it, of course. Russia was against it. China sat on the fence, and it was quite predictable in that way. The people that abstained from the vote, because there was a roll call vote. They have various different. I'm learning about. I've only been there a year, so I'm still learning. There was a roll call vote. Some countries abstained because they haven't got the immediate authority to vote from their government. And if it's 2 o'clock in the morning where their government sits, they have to abstain. That doesn't mean to say they're for or against. It's just the way it is.
I mentioned yesterday we have now, end of April, one vessel was, they tried to exit Hormuz Strait, and the Iranian Navy, or how they call it, they took the vessel. So there is a couple of operations there, there is a couple of Montenegrin there. They tried to exit, they're still there. So it's not so nice situation. Another thing, we will not name the companies, but what we get, there was even some companies when all this started, they even completely stopped the crew change for whole Far East due to reduced amount of the flights and whatever was there. Because some flights was anyway going through the countries on the Persian Gulf with one stop or whatever. Flights are still there, but they're a little bit more expensive. And then internal memo was, for the moment, we are stopping all crew change from whole Far East. I cannot name the company now, but this is what we get, some feedback from the crew members. You need to figure out how these things is working. You have the vessel owner, you have the vessel operator, you have sometimes managing agency and subsidiary managing agency, and they agree, everybody agree for some budget. On the end of the story, it's coming on the money side. Do they have budget, or they like even to make the crew change, or they said, okay, let's see 1-2 months, maybe we can save some money. Stupid things are really happening. Another thing, I think I posted on our Facebook a few days ago. There was one report from ITF how many they get requests from the vessels and from the Siemens to help them. So we have about 20,000. They get about 2,200 requests, and some of them they were even complaining they are not getting provision, they are not getting the water. They are completely left from the company side. Not from all companies. You have always companies, who will not allow this one, who they will spend even a little bit money, they will provide everything. But there is some companies, looks like they reduce all, even supplies, because it's costing a little bit more money. Even some companies, they stop giving the wages. This is the reality.
Yeah. But you were speaking about information. Maybe ashore they have more information. Yes, but on site you have another information. You have your feeling, what you see on the sea, in the air, and when you discuss with the guy in Paris or Marseille or London or where you want, he has not this feeling. He has formal information because they know they are in discussion. But in fact, they don't know what happened exactly. Okay. Yes, after. No, but go. You have the microphone, go.
Sorry, I ask if you have is a correct information about that Lloyd's of London have take out the insurance of the vessel that are crossing the channel of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. In this case, that is confirmed, is another very big stone that must be taken the master, because if you don't have the insurance on the vessel and the owners order to you to cross the strait, there is a bigger risk for the master, because if you lost the vessel, is another point that is very, very important to see, in my opinion. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. One of the concerns, and I know it's a concern of ITF, but it is a general concern that was talked about in IMO briefly, was that, and it's going back to what was said about there are some ships where they're not getting the food, they're not getting supplies and what have you, where some companies are feeling the financial impact of having ships stranded for such a long time. So there is a risk of a higher level of abandonment of ships now, which is already, and I haven't got the numbers in front of me, but the numbers produced by the ITF and discussed at the legal committee in IMO a month or two ago that the number of abandonments is already going way
up. Yeah.
And the worry now is it's going to go even more.
Yes. So, this is why we will do a resolution. We will see also this afternoon the resolution during our AGA. This is why we do also a resolution about a special resolution about this war situation. We disconnect that from the other area, from even if it is in the same region, but this is something very special now, and we don't see the end coming. And this is a big problem for the master of the vessels, because they have their own, as I said, they have their own sensibility, but they have to make us not as if they have not, but they should give the power to the crew. And this is very difficult to give a power to the crew when you are at the less level of the power, your own power. This is very difficult to do that. And I'm quite sure that in the general masters and the seafarer we have on the other side now, the big danger is they will stop navigation. They will not come back on the vessel. I see personally, when I had this story with the Limburg, we were 25, and I can tell you that 50% of the crew stopped navigation. This is including the chief engineer. They stop totally. They don't go to another company or to inland waters, for example. No, they stop totally navigation. And this is very dangerous, even now for us, because in the future, we need to have some seafarers and some chief officer and some chief engineer and new masters. We need to have that. But if some guys, due to the fact that they were trapped in the Gulf, they prefer to say stop, they will not continue. That is a problem. My son is on a vessel. He is not in the Gulf. He chose another company than mine. It's not the same cargo, okay? And we were speaking together, and he said, okay, I would like to continue, but if you were in this company, he told me, probably finish, because it's too dangerous. Yeah.
And I'm speaking my mind here, yeah? So please accept that, right? You don't have to agree, but there's just something popping up whilst my brain is thinking further about the point that we actually just made about the master has the overriding authority. And that is something we eat and sleep with, right? If you would wake anybody of us up in the middle of the night and we would say, what does the master have? We would all say, oh, the ultimate overriding authority. Is it perhaps time in something like a scenario which is quite specific, Hormuz now, to say, well, that's great, but is that actually right? Is it actually fair to actually leave that responsibility with the master? And the point I'm trying to make here is, how can the master actually make that decision without all the information in an emergency scenario, with crew issues, with charter partner issues? That is all what the master is very well trained and aware. He knows what to do, he knows where to go, he can get all the information, and he can make that final decision on what is right or what is wrong. That's what they are trained for. We're not trained for this. Got no idea what a drone, how it works, what do I do if I see, I mean, you're in a completely new field also for the master. So is there actually not a discussion to be had here, like, okay, well, we need to think outside the box here. It's not for us to shout, well, the master has the overriding authority. I would shout the same, but thinking about it, stepping back, I actually think, well, hold on, I mean, maybe that's not what the discussion should be all about.
It's a fundamental discussion that's been going on for years. There's a spike now because of the conflict, but that dilemma has always been there, because we say that a master has overriding authority, but we also know, and some people have experienced it, but we all know that may be true in black and white, but that doesn't stop the owner firing the master and replacing him with somebody else at the end of his contract. So that overriding responsibility is tempered with some caveats, because if a master really wants to keep that job, he will always bend it.
Fortunately, we didn't learn nothing from COVID, because we have same problem with crew change. And many times the crew change was delayed for months and months just to spend less money for the crew change. It's not that it was not possible in some ports, but they were trying to find convenient port when they can spend less money. And I heard from a couple of companies when I was doing pilotage, they have even a couple of suicides on the vessels. Best people was, different people, different, they cope with the stress different way. And now we have people there already stuck for months and months. So some companies, they are doing regular crew change. We have even one Croatian company vessel there. Recently, they did full crew change. They are in the Gulf. It's Croatian company own vessel, but not all companies are doing this one. Or they are completely trying to avoid the crew change. And this is big stress on the crew, and they are only waiting, some of them, they are still waiting to go home, but they are afraid, to call ITF, okay, send me home or whatever, I will abandon the position on the ship. Because, of course, they are afraid for the job, but they are still there. And we didn't learn nothing from the COVID. It's always coming to this money level, how much we need to spend there, let's try to push them a little bit more to save the money on the end.
So if I can do, I agree, 100% agree. So, and I think actually obviously I'm with ISMA, a very similar organisation. I think we should be aligned on all of these subjects. But you're right about COVID, because seafarers work day and night on board ships to keep the ships running when the whole of the world was in lockdown, and people were still getting their Amazon deliveries on time because the ships was, and they were still getting fuel in their car. But when it came to reciprocating that favour and allowing those seafarers to take leave, there was most governments around the world would not allow seafarers to transit through. Well, it started, but then, for example, in Singapore, seafarers had to isolate for 2 or 3 weeks in a hotel, and all this fiasco. I want to also point out the public perception of seafarers. I think is an important long-term subject that we should all be maybe aligned on here, because I don't believe that there is a lot of understanding in many countries about the work that seafarers do and the sacrifices they make, and they don't realise how important their jobs are. For example, when the Evergreen vessel blocked Suez for a week, then people started to immediately see there was some shortages coming along. And it became high-level news, even on the BBC once or twice, that it said, everything is getting delayed because of the ships blocking Suez. And then the public started to realise how important it is. we've now jumped forward to the hormones, and we're seeing something similar. But I was talking to people. I was talking to a guy that cuts my hair the other week, and he had no idea when I explained to him about what seafarers are putting up with in the Persian Gulf, that you're standing on a steel box surrounded by hydrocarbons, and somebody's firing a torpedo, like a missile or a torpedo at you. That's not the best place in the world to be sitting at that particular moment. And he said, I've never really thought of it that way. And the public don't. They don't appreciate that. So I think that, anyway, that's just, I'm getting on my hobby horse, because I do think that in general, seafarers are not really seen as key workers, I think is the terminology. And we should push for seafarers to be treated as key workers.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know for in France they were speaking about the seafarers, but several weeks after, 2-3 weeks after the beginning of the war, they were at that moment starting to speak about seafarer traps. It was vessel first, and we have 2 weeks, several weeks. I don't know, maybe in Slovenia, Italy, or even Bulgaria, how long time you should wait before to heard at the broadcast that there is also seafarer trapped. At the beginning, for us, nobody speak about that.
We have in March, we have our annual General Assembly you were presiding in the Šibenik area, and we have very good TV coverage and newspaper coverage, because for Croatian, especially the cities on the coast, I think there is no family, or at least if it's not in the family, there you have at least one neighbor who is a seaman, because most of the seamen, they are concentrated around the coast in the biggest towns. So community is quite aware about the situation. So we get also very good coverage, and we have union representatives on the meetings, and it was even on the main TV news, on the national TV. So we have, it's a really important subject for us. Regarding the COVID, in UK was very easy to have the crew change during the COVID, because we was recognized, even the pilots and the seamen, we was recognized as the key workers. It was very simple to do, but another problem what was in European Union also, problem was how to get the Schengen visa. We have, I think, resolution. Problem was not only the COVID to have the crew change, problem was how to obtain the Schengen visa in time. And this is still the problem, for some of the problem. And many times even crew change is delayed in Europe because they didn't succeed to get the visa on time, or company didn't send them in time to make the visa. And we have still, we was having anyway, last year we have still one resolution regarding this one. We was suggesting that we go to the way like you have in the USA. Like you make C1, D1 visa, and it's valid for, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, and finish story. Like this, we don't have it in European Union. And anyway, in Schengen area, we don't have this kind of system. And I think if he make the visa for, I don't know, for friends from Germany, he need to fly first to France. Yes. He cannot enter Croatia or now Bulgaria or whatever with visa asked for the friends. I think it's still like this.
Even not, no. The visa is not for France, the visa is for Le Havre or for Marseille.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the same.
On paper. Yeah, but you know, they don't have it like most of the companies, they don't have for the Siemens, like, you know, most of the companies when you are joining the company, they like you to have this USA visa permanently valid, but not for European Union. Yeah. So, unfortunately,
Okay. For conclusion, okay. Yes.
I need something to mention. I think that the main problems are related with the acceptance and settlement of the supremacy of the United Nations organization and also the United Nations Convention of the Maritime Law, where we can see that the content is a little bit outdated. And most of the problems concerning the criminalization of the masters should be implemented and updated therein. Also the freedom of navigation during the political and war crisis should be settled inside. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? First of all, I want to thank you for participation in that interesting discussion. I think that all of us are now, it's just a share of experience between us, and I put on the screen that information, which is from the website of IMO, what IMO has done. And yes, we can discuss a lot about the problems in Ormuz Strait, but the problem is political and we cannot solve it. Even you see that all the measures of IMO are just a kind of an issue which they cannot solve. They raise the voice, and that's what we can do. And that's why we will make a resolution about that matter, because we are concerned about the situation, we are concerned about our future as seafarers, and all the impact which this situation will have in the future shipping and supply of crew on board the ships. And we had also very interesting presentations in the morning, I hope. So thank you once again, and we'll stop now for lunch break, and we'll continue at 1400 back to the room. Thank you.
Thank you.
14:30. 14:30. Okay, 14:30 back in the room.